Hello, freshmen. You all are just a few hours away from your first college spring break. So very excited for you. Of course, want you to be safe, right? Come back in one piece. That's all I ask of you. Before you all leave, though, reminder about the scholarships that are available to all of you through A2O, right? There's money out there. There is money out there, and the college wants to give it to you. So over the break, that's when you may have some downtime, and please take some time to look at the opportunities in the scholarship opportunities in the A2O portal. All right, for those of you who do need letters of recommendation, you need to start reaching out to me pretty quickly because over the break is when I'm going to work on these things. And when the break comes back, I'm going to be super busy again. So please reach out if you all need some help. Reminder again about the Burnett Honors College. The phase 1 is open now, and then phase 2 opens if you're vetted and accepted, and the deadline is April 15th for that program. All right, some reminders about the Great Naval Orange Race. First of all, hope everybody kind of enjoyed that experience of doing a critical design review and doing a presentation in front of your peers. That is one of the ABET accreditation activities for freshmen to be able to give a presentation to your peers on a technical subject, on a project in which you're working. I've seen some hulls, I've seen some of these slide presentations, and they were really wonderful. So I'm very proud of you all. But I haven't seen a ton of hulls. Usually we see a lot more activity now. I know that we were delayed in getting things to you and whatnot, but we're really not too far off from last year's and the years prior, but really need you all to be thinking about building, okay, at this point. With that being said, I understand that there's a lot of things being thrown at you all right now, especially the Onshape file. Everybody wants to make it absolutely perfect. And yes, for printing and whatnot, laser cutting, you do have to have your file just the way you want it. For the assignment, if it's not perfect, that's okay. All right, just get the assignment in. When you turn in your final report, that will have your finalized Onshape file, and that's really when we need it, okay? So some of you are just stressing over the nuances and whatnot, and that's fine, but at some point we really need to kind of get going and get building and printing. Reminder to you about the LiPo battery. We do need you to purchase that along with the fire safety bag, and it has to count towards your budget and has to have those criteria. A reminder as well that we will need your motor and your servo to be returned to us, okay? We need that back. We are getting money from the equipment fee, and part of being an equipment fee purchase is that it's something that's reused and recycled. So at race day, we're going to need that back. Don't use that Gorilla Glue and adhere things such that we can't get the part off of your vessel. Another thing too, I wanted to let you know that I've got a bunch of different stainless steel screws down in the TI lab, because that way you've got different size screws and whatnot that you can use to get that motor mounted into your vessel. And wait, let me go back. Hold on. Reminder, the hulls are due. This is what I'm saying about build. For those of you who are in the later part of the week, obviously you have more time, but I encourage you all to coordinate so you have something to show your TA when you return from the break. All right, one thing I do want to let everybody know is that the lab hours for the TI lab have changed, and that's a great thing for us. I'm not going to lie. The lab hours are not going to be open on break, unfortunately, because the lab is staffed by students, and well, during break it's pretty much no students around. When we get back, though, from 9 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, that lab will be open, and that makes it very accessible. And then also, Mr. Harper, Don Harper, who manages the lab, has that lab open from 10 to 5 now on Saturdays. And that's going to come in really helpful, too, as we get closer to the April 17th deadline. One other thing is is that we're putting together kind of a part supply table for all of you to kind of have access to some supplies that we have purchased specifically for the students and for the boat race. So if you're lacking in things and tools, go into the lab during the many hours that it's now open. And if you're in need of different, like I said, the screws will be there, some laser cutting wood, some of that corrugated plastic board. All of that will be there for you as well. All right, so good news about the lab there, and really bottom line is just I want you again to have a great spring break. Don't forget though that you do have something due when you come back, and most of all, be safe and enjoy. All right, take care, Knights.
I'm Zaina Raven. I am with the Florida Board of Professional Engineers. I'm going to talk to you today about becoming a professional engineer in the state of Florida. I do like to add the caveat that when I talk about all of these things, I'm only talking about Florida. So if you're interested in getting licensed in another state, you would need to check with that state on what their requirements are. So I'm asked a lot of times, why would it be important for me to get a license? For one thing, it allows you to call yourself a professional engineer or a PE. Without a license, you cannot do that. Those titles are protected by statute. It demonstrates that you have technical competency in your area of practice. It gives you the authority to sign and seal engineering documents, engineering design documents, rather than just doing the work and then passing them off to the PE to sign your work. It will enhance your career options, put you on a faster track to management. It gives you a lot of credibility if you decide to be a consultant, an engineering consultant, or even especially if you decide to go into, say, forensic engineering and provide expert testimony. FBPE is the regulatory board. It is the Florida Board of Professional Engineers. That regulatory board has been around for over 100 years. It was created in 1917 by the Florida legislature to oversee the practice of engineering in order to protect the public's health and safety and welfare. And what they do is they oversee the activity of about 50,000 licensed engineers in Florida. We are third in the nation, only behind Texas and California. We also have NCEES, that is the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. This is where you will go to take your exams, and they develop, administer, and score all the exams that you will take for your license. They do engineering and surveying exams, and they produce a national exam that is good in every state. The path to licensure, we refer to this as the 3 E's: education, exams, and experience. In Florida, what we're looking for is a Bachelor of Science in Engineering, which is EAC, ABET accredited, or a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technology, which must be ETAC, ABET accredited, or the equivalent of either one of those. You have to take 2 exams. Those are both administered by NCEES. So first, the Fundamentals of Engineering exam. This is your first exam that you will take, and just as the name says, it is the fundamentals. It is an academic exam. It is not based on the practice of engineering. It is administered in 7 discipline-specific exams that are based on your math, your science, and your engineering coursework. I like to refer to this exam as a great, big, huge final exam. It is a 6-hour computer-based test that is offered at Pearson VUE Centers. To register for the exam, you go to NCEES and you open an account, pay for your exam. You have 1 year to schedule a seat time at Pearson VUE. Once you have passed the fundamentals exam and you've graduated, you are eligible to apply for an engineer intern certificate. You do not have to have the certificate to go forward with licensure. Sometimes your employer likes for you to have that. Sometimes your employer will pay for you to get it. The main thing that I would like to stress here is if you decide to take any NCEES exam, make sure that you familiarize yourself with the guidelines for going into a Pearson VUE Center. NCEES puts out a guidebook for examinees. Make sure you read it. Make sure you follow it. There are certain things like you have to have an approved calculator, and don't go out on the World Wide Web and talk about exam questions. because they monitor it and they will invalidate your exam scores if you talked about exam questions. The main thing too is make sure that you take this exam at the right time. It's usually sometime in your last year of school or right after you graduate, because this is an academic exam. So once you've passed the FE exam, that is the only requirement to go forward to the PE exam. And same thing, you're going to go back to NCES, you're going to register for the exam. But now what you're looking at is 27 different disciplines. Instead of 7, you have 27 now. And they are based on the practice of engineering. So different type of tests that you're taking here. So to register for the exam, like I said, you just have to have passed the FE exam. There is no engineering experience required. However, NCES statistics show that first-time examinees are more likely to pass if they have at least 2 years of experience. So the exam tips for taking the PE exam are pretty much the same as the FE. I do want to mention that when you take the FE exam, there is a formula book that is available to you. It's got all the formulas that you'll need and it's a PDF searchable document. When you take the PE, you have all these reference materials available to you in the computer. The biggest thing here is just make sure you're taking the right exam when you take this. We had a young lady who failed the civil exam 3 times. So she realized that she had been working in environmental for 4 years, and she took the environmental test the first time and passed it. It really does make a difference. The last component is experience. When you're applying for a license, if you have a Bachelor of Science in Engineering, we're going to require 4 years or 48 months of experience. If you have a technology degree, we're going to require 6 years or 72 months. If you work full-time during your last 2 years of college, we can count that experience up to 1 year. It's counted at 50%. So if you worked 2 full years, your junior, senior year, that's 2 years at 50%. You get the 1 year max. You can also earn 1 year of experience for earning a master's degree in engineering, and you can also earn another year for a doctorate. We will allow you to count the degree and any experience you're earning at the same time when you get that graduate degree if you are only if you're only enrolled part-time in your graduate program. So once you've passed both of your exams and you have graduated, there's some requirements to apply for your license, but the first one is you have to be 18 years. You submit an application to us with a $230 fee. So I want to move on to the restricted use of titles. Sometimes this surprises people. They don't realize when they're in school that you can't use these titles unless you have a license. But you are not allowed to use professional engineer or PE. And then there's a long list in 471.031 of Florida statutes that includes some of these names. It also includes civil engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer. You may not use those titles unless you are licensed. I do get asked sometimes by students, they say, well, if I go to work for somebody and my employer gives me the title civil engineer, what am I supposed to do? And I say, put intern at the end. You just can't send out communication to people that makes them think you're something you're not. So if you have business cards, if you're signing letters or sending emails, you have to make sure that you use intern until you have your license. If you would like to get more information, take a picture of that QR code. It will take you to a lot of different useful links. If you have questions about exams or licensure or anything, please reach out to our office. We are available. I like to think that we have the best team ever. We are available to answer any questions you have. So feel free to reach out to us.
Hello students, I just wanted to pop in and express to you how important I believe that the Fundamentals in Engineering exam, the FE exam, is to our students. Many people don't push the FE on students that are not civil or not environmental, because for civil environmentals, you know, in your degree here at UCF, you will have to take the exam. They don't require that you pass it, but you know, my advice to you is that you definitely need to pass it if you can. But for everyone else, you know, what's wrong with, as you approach your senior year, taking an exam that goes over the fundamentals of the engineering concepts in your major that you've been taught over the last 3 to 4 years. This exam is similar, SAT, ACT, MCATs. They are national exams that put everybody on the same playing field, so to speak. So when a knight passes the electrical engineering FE and a gator passes the electrical engineering FE, well, guess what? You all know the same basic concepts for electrical engineering. There's no comparison. It's apples to apples. You've passed the same national exam, so you've put yourself on a great playing field with all the other engineering students who are applying for positions around the country. I guess I don't see why some students don't take it more seriously and give it a shot in their late junior or their senior year when all this information is fresh. It's just a really awesome accolade to have on your resume upon graduation because, again, it lets the employer know, hey, I paid attention the last 4 years. I know this stuff. Hire me over the guy that doesn't have their FE exam passed, right? So again, just want to encourage everybody to think about it as you look at opportunities. Personally, again, I think it's just a great strategic career move. It is for ambitious students, not going to lie. A 5-hour, 20-minute exam is long. But again, you put it on your resume, and if in the future you want to get your professional engineering license, you're already there. You're at step 2 because you've already passed the FE. Imagine trying to go back and take that exam 10 years from now. That would be kind of tough to do. You'd be brushing off a lot of cobwebs, so to speak. So again, it is just my opinion, but it is advice that I think freshmen should pay attention to.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the EGN1007 Academic Success Coaching presentation. We just wanted to take this time to go over some important information and details to get you prepared for the upcoming registration cycle. So we're almost halfway through the semester. It's going by really fast. So this is kind of a good point to kind of check in to see how things are going. If you need help, there are resources such as meeting with your academic success coach, CAPS, going to office hours, and various resources on campus. At this point, I think students should be asking themselves kind of 2 questions, right? Are things going well and you plan on staying in your courses? And if so, committing to your coursework and doing well in your classes, going to office hours, going to the Student Academic Resource Center if you need help, just making that commitment to finishing the semester strong. Your other option, if your courses are not going well this semester, is to withdraw from the course. The withdrawal deadline can be found on the screen or in the academic calendar for the current semester. Students have until that withdrawal deadline to decide to either remain in the course or to withdraw. After the withdrawal deadline, students must remain in the course and they will earn whatever grade they earn at the end of the semester. Before withdrawing, it's important that a student speaks to their academic success coach to kind of look at all of the different areas that could be impacted with withdrawing. That could involve financial aid, different university or college policies, impact to future semester schedules. There's a lot that could go into withdrawing from a course. So before thinking about withdrawing or actually withdrawing from the course, you definitely want to connect with your coach just to discuss all of your options. Registration for the upcoming semester is quickly approaching, so we want to make sure you're prepared as possible. Once your enrollment appointment time is posted in your student portal, you definitely want to view this date and time so that way you know exactly when you are able to enroll for the summer and fall semesters. Remember, in the spring semesters, you will always have the ability to enroll for summer and fall. So if you log into your student portal and you go down under the enrollment dates box, you'll see a button for details. You'll go ahead and click that, and then a other box will pop up that has the terms that are available to view. So there you will see the summer and the fall enrollment appointment times. So you can click each one to see when your enrollment appointment time is. It should be the same for summer and fall. So that date and time will let you know exactly when you are able to enroll into the upcoming semesters. My best advice is to make sure you are prepared and ready to enroll as soon as that date and specific time arrives. That will give you the best opportunity to get into the courses that you need with your preferred sections. Your enrollment appointment date and time is also when your shopping cart is available. Your shopping cart will allow you to put the courses you plan to take in upcoming semesters into your shopping cart. So once your enrollment appointment time starts, you are able to go into your shopping cart and then all of your chosen classes will be there, and then you can enroll right from your shopping cart. So just a few tips to prepare for registration, because it will come up pretty soon. You definitely want to check to see if you have any registration holds. If you have any holds that are blocking your enrollment, you definitely want to address them and take care of them before your enrollment starts, because if any holds that block enrollment are still on your account by the time you can enroll, it obviously will not let you. So you don't want any surprises. So definitely check your holds now to make sure you're good to go. Definitely review your degree audit. Make sure any incoming credit you had is posted and it's posted correctly. If something is missing, that may impact your enrollment for spring. If something doesn't look right or you have questions about your audit, definitely meet with your coach and they can kind of comb through it and see, what is going on. Here's an example of where you can check to see if you have any holds on your account. So when you log into your student portal, your homepage should look like this. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see a box that's labeled holds. That's where you'll want to check to see if you have any outstanding holds. This example shows a student that has a UCF Health Services hold. You can click details and it will provide more information for all of the holds that are posted there, and it will let you know there if the hold is blocking registration. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, you want to make sure all of these are addressed before registration so you're able to enroll in your classes. The second item listed under holds is just an alert. So it says it there, alert. That is just a notification for the student. With the alert tag, that is letting you know it's just a message. It's not blocking any registration, but it's still something the student may need to take action on. So definitely log into your student portal and check your holds box to see if you have any holds that will prevent you from registering for future semesters. To take some time today to discuss the transient course process. This is when students take a course at another institution that is not UCF. This is pretty common during the summer since students may be going home or they won't be in Orlando to take courses on campus. So if you plan to take a course at another institution over the summer, you must first complete a transient application. Depending on where you take the transient course will depend on the actual process that you will complete. If you plan to take a course at a Florida State College or university, you're going to submit your transient application online through floridashines.org through that website. You'll log in and submit your application on the website. If you plan to take a course outside of the state of Florida or at a private school within Florida, there's a different process for the transient course approval. You have to fill out the transient student approval form. I would suggest you meet with your ASC to discuss the process, to get the form, and to outline all of the steps you have to complete. For the transient applications that will be submitted online through floridashines.org, you cannot submit the application until after the withdrawal deadline for the current term has passed. So if you submit your application before the withdrawal deadline, it will just be automatically denied and you'll have to resubmit after the withdrawal deadline has passed. In the spring terms, we will only review summer transient applications. We will not look at fall transient applications yet. The fall transient applications won't be reviewed until after the withdrawal deadline for summer C. Many offices are involved in the review process when the transient applications are submitted online through floridashines.org. So you have to allow at least 2 weeks for the multiple offices to review your application. It's not a quick process, so you have to be proactive if you're thinking about taking a course transient and submitting your transient application with enough time for it to be reviewed. Also wanted to discuss some of the enrollment implications for taking a transient course when it's a prerequisite for a future course you plan to take. So if you plan to take a transient course in a summer semester that is a prerequisite for a course you plan to take in the following term, it's really important to know the college policy on how enrollment for the future term will go. So in this situation, the college will not allow students to register for the next course until they provide proof of their final posted grade of the transient course. So instead of enrolling in April for, let's say, a fall course, you will have to wait until you have your final grade for your summer transient course before you can submit an override for a fall course. So this will delay your enrollment into the future semester, and you risk the course being waitlisted or full. The college won't save seats for students who take the prerequisite transient, so it's definitely something to consider if you're thinking about taking a course transient. I highly recommend you schedule an appointment with your coach to review this in details that's specific to you, so that way you understand the full picture before deciding to take a course transient. Another note we wanted to make is if a student is taking a course for the third attempt, they will not be approved to take the course transient. Anytime a student is taking a course for the third attempt, they have to take it here at UCF. The last thing we did want to mention about transient is if a student takes a course transient, they complete the course at the other school. It's the student's responsibility to make sure official transcripts are sent back to UCF once your final grade is posted. So that's actually how the credit and the course transfer to UCF and post on your degree audit to show the requirement satisfied. So that's a really important step that students must do if they take a course transient. We also thought that was a good time to review the CECS progress policy. If you remember from orientation, this is a policy that is just for students in the College of Engineering and Computer Science. And there's two components to the policy. You can see in the two boxes on the screen. There's a low grade component and the repeat course component. We are looking at both parts of this policy when we're looking at the policy. So for the low grade components, what the college considers a low grade is a C- or below. So you can see all the grades on the screen. NCs, which are no credit, they count as well. Withdrawals count, the Ws, or the late withdrawals. All of those will count as low grades towards the policy. If a student gets to 7 low grades, they're on progress probation, and that just means they'll get an email from their coach each semester all the way to graduation, just sending a reminder about the policy, to keep the policy in mind and to come speak to your coach if you have any questions. If that same student then gets to 10 low grades total, then at that point the student will be redirected from the college, meaning that they can no longer declare any major or minor in the college. They would have to select another major at UCF. Now, the second part of the policy is the repeat course component. If a student is unsuccessful in the same course twice, they'll be placed on progress probation. So again, they will get that email from their coach. If they take that course for a third time and they do not earn a C or better, and they are unsuccessful in the course for a third time, same situation, they will be redirected and will have to choose another major at UCF. With this policy, we are looking at any course taken at UCF, whether it's for your major, a minor, general education requirement, or you're just taking a random class for fun. Any course taken at the university will count towards this policy. If you have any questions about any of the topics that we covered in today's presentation, or you want to check to make sure your schedule for the upcoming semesters looks good, I definitely encourage you to schedule an appointment with your academic success coach. There are a few ways that you can schedule your appointment. You can schedule online through the My Night Star link in your student portal. This will directly link to your coach's availability, and you can book right there. Most coaches have in-person or virtual appointments available, so you can pick anything that fits your schedule. You can also call the Academic Affairs Office to schedule an appointment as well, and the number's on the screen there. As enrollment gets closer, appointments will book up very quickly. There will definitely be times when your coach is booked for a few weeks out, so you're not able to get right in for an appointment. So I definitely encourage you to be proactive and to schedule your appointment as soon as possible. The coaches are here during spring break, so we are available if the students are. So definitely be proactive and schedule something before all the appointments fill up quickly. If you go to book an appointment and your coach is not available for at least 4 weeks out, we do offer in-person walk-ins. They're located in person in the Academic Affairs Office in Engineering 1, Room 107. The days and the times walk-ins are available are posted on the screen, so make sure to make a note of the times in case you want to pop in. Walk-ins are first come, first serve, and they're just kind of pop in to ask your quick question and then to get your question answered. And then if you need more time or you have more questions, you can also book with your coach after the walk-in to have that follow-up appointment.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our GNOR timeline. We are transitioning into week 9 here, going strong. So this week in lab, you should have done your CDR or critical design review presentations. You also should have received your motors and servos in class. And of course, next week is going to be spring break. So that should be a perfect opportunity for everyone to be working on their holes, which are going to be due on the week when we come back.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Go for Launch with the GTAs. Here are some key reminders for your boat project, so please listen up. First thing is, if you did not receive your motor or servo in your lab section this week, you have to come to our GTA office, which is in room 218B in Business Administration 1. You have to come and pick up those parts from us. If you already received them, you cannot receive a second one from us. But if you did not receive any yet from your lab during this week, please come in. If you do want them prior to spring break, if you want to wait till after, that's perfectly fine. But if you want them prior to going off to the break so you can work on it, please come up and pick those up today.
Thank you. Also, a reminder, make sure you're working on your holes either before spring break or during spring break because they're going to be due in lab when you get back. I also want to clarify that working on your hole does not mean gluing your motor or your servo to the boat. Remember, those are going to be rentals, they need to be returnable, and getting glue on them could damage them or make it harder for other teams to use them in the future.
And lastly, for those of you who are planning on using your own microcontroller instead of the MSP 430 or 432 that we're handing out, in addition, if you're also planning on using a closed loop control system, then you will have to buy your own IMU. We talked about the MPU 6050s in class, but those are strictly accompanying the MSP boards that we're handing out. So if that's the case, make sure that you're buying your own IMU. That will not be counted in your budget. Now let's move on to the TA Spotlight. Hey everyone, welcome back to another segment of TA Spotlight. This week we've got Aaron and Anthony, our TAs here. And we also heard from a lecture about academic success coaches and the Academic Affairs Office planning ahead for registration. So one big thing as our freshmen progress to sophomores, yay, is to look ahead at your schedules and especially pay attention for any bottlenecks or key courses that might prevent you from progressing in your degree path sooner rather than later. So pay attention to those. We also have some tools that we recommend using. Could you go ahead and tell us one tool that you have experience using in your registration planning?
Yeah, so a really powerful tool that I really recommend using would be your Pegasus Path Planner. It should line up with your flowchart, and it's really helpful when used in conjunction with a few other tools like My Schedule Builder, which we'll get to later. If you do not have it currently set up, we recommend going to an academic success coach because they can help you get it set up according to your flowchart. The only thing that it can't help you with necessarily will be your technical electives, but you'll just have to pick those once that time comes.
And another tool that I found very useful is the flowchart, because if you find the Pegasus path kind of a little bit too confusing, or the screen, a little bit overstimulating, I always found the flowchart to be very helpful. It can tell you which classes are up ahead or which class to take next. I like to just put it kind of like on a Word doc on a checklist and then see which ones come up next, and those are the ones to take. Also for the MAE, for mechanical and aerospace engineering, I suggest taking statics as soon as possible because that class kind of like leads to everything else.
That's for sure. I can definitely echo that as an MAE. Another thing that you mentioned, the class schedule builder, is a powerful tool that combos with Pegasus Path because you want to make sure that you have time to walk from one class to another, something like that. So that class schedule builder helps you take a look at the timing of each class kind of in a block view per week. Very helpful tool. It can generate different possibilities of classes and then you can compare them side by side. So highly recommend. Well, this has been a quick overview of some of our experience with registering for classes and some tips that we can give you on the tools that are available. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from our TAs, and let's move on to the club spotlight. We're going to be hearing from the Robotics Club of Central Florida this week.
Check this out.
Okay.
I look good.
Okay. On the street and I got my swag on. Okay. Get the money, gotta get my bag on. Okay. Triple back, flip out the whole scene. Okay. All you suckers just the one that be me. So, get smacked. You looking whack. I got the big stacks. I'm pushing stacks. New outfit. You wish you had it on. Only tricks on the wrist. Gotta keep it on. Okay. What you got? I got it going on. Okay. What you got? I got it going on. Okay. What you got? I got it. Okay.
In addition to the Robotics Club of Central Florida, we have another organization to highlight for this week's Club Spotlight. This flyer is coming to you from SCRO, or the Semiconductor Career Readiness Organization. They're a new organization here at UCF, and they're going to have their first general body meeting on Tuesday, March 24th. SCRO is geared towards establishing professional connections and knowledge for students who are interested in semiconductor technology. So any of you who have an interest in this field, especially those of you who are majored in electrical, materials, or computer engineering, please consider checking out this fantastic opportunity.